Bonjour, donc on est à l'Institut français de Finlande et on est ici pour présenter les études en France. I'm not going to continue in French because to study in France, you might or might not know French. This doesn't really matter. So we are in the French Institute of Finland, and this space is called Campus France Space, and is a place where all Finnish students are welcome to come and to take information about how to study in France. My name is Elena Ceccarelli, and overall I am in charge of the cooperation between France and Finland, not only for studies but also in science. So here is our address, Hironkatu 36 in Helsinki, and here you have the website of the Campus France Finland, which is specifically done for Finnish students, and you can find there our email address to contact us. So what is Campus France? Campus France is the organization that is present all over the world, in 121 countries in particular, to help students to apply for studying in France. So the main office are in Paris, in France, and then you see in blue all the countries where the Campus France site are present. So in all those countries, French is spoken, and French is an important language. So now let's go to the content of this presentation. I will present you the different diploma and institution, higher education institution in France, and then the admission procedures, why you should choose France, and source of information. I would say that the main goal for me today, personally, is to tell you that mobility is really important. Whether you go to France or to another country, for a student it's very important to open up your mind, to go abroad and see different way of teaching, educating, doing. So concerning the different kind of diplomas, I would like to point out that in Europe we have now a common frame for higher education, which is the bachelor, master, doctorate system. So in all European countries, you can find these three kinds of diploma. The bachelor is 3 years after high school. The master is 5 years after high school. And then the doctorate is at least 8 years after the high school. So the bachelor and the master degree are the frame is really identical in all European countries, which allows you to start a diploma, a bachelor, for example, here in Finland, and to finish it in France or in another European country. It's the same for the master. Also, when you choose for high degree diploma, you should also look for double degree, because there are agreements that already exist between universities in Finland and all over Europe, and in particular, of course, with France, where you can reach a double diploma. So a diploma where you do part of your study here in Finland and part in France, but everything is well structured. So you don't find any kind of administrative difficulties, because everything is already set by the universities in order for students to get this double degree. At the bachelor level, there are not that many double degrees, because bachelor is still a study level which is kind of broad and brings you to jobs that are maybe specific in each European country, in the sense that they might allow you to do some profession that are specifically recognized in the different European countries. But when you think about master and even more about doctorate, then you should really open up your training and learn things that are taught in the other countries. So at the master level, you find much more easily double degrees that are also taught in English. So these allow you really to go anywhere, even if your French proficiency is not that good. And at the doctoral level, you have also double PhD degrees between two countries that has been to set up, but are very interesting also because you can work in two countries, and when you are going to apply for a job, the fact that you have been working in two different countries, that you have a different experience, is really very valuable. So the mobility is important because it's important for you, for your mindset, but it's also important because when you're going to apply for a job, this is certainly a plus. So the reason why all these degrees are common in Europe is because there is now this ECTS, which are the credits, the European credits you will get while doing your study in the university. So you will get credits, and those credits are recognized all over Europe. You need 60 credits per academic year, and you can spend a whole academic year in a university, or also imagine to spend half of the year in a foreign university to get 30 ECTS, 30 credits, and then use those 30 credits taken in France, for example. You add 30 credits taken in Finland, and this make a full university year. So in France, there are other diploma which are not recognized at the European level. So when you're applying to go to France to get to do your study, be very careful that you are really applying for a bachelor or a master or a doctorate, which are recognized everywhere, because if you enter, for example, an engineering school, then you might get an engineering degree which is not recognized as a master. So this degree not only is not recognized in Finland, but also will not allow you to pursue your studies with a doctoral degree. So it's extremely important, wherever you go for a mobility, to check the kind of diploma you are going to get in the foreign country. You must make sure that the diploma you are getting in the other country is recognized by Finland. Otherwise, you are stuck. You start doing your study in the other country, and you get a diploma which is not recognized in your own country, which not allow you to pursue in doctorate. So, you put a lot of effort, but finally you don't get as much as you could have with following a master or a bachelor degree, which are recognized at the European level. I will continue with the training opportunity in France. So there are public universities, 72 public universities, where you can follow all kinds of disciplines. Really, everything is present in almost all French universities. In addition to these public universities, in France you have an engineering school system, which is very popular, very selective, very hard to get in. And those schools are specialized. So you have engineering school, you have school for the management of business, art school, architect school, and then you have a bunch of private school. But as I was telling you before, public education in France is a very high level one. So I wouldn't go definitely to a private school in France, but I would more easily choose a public university. And also when you do your choice, make sure that you keep a contact with your university in Finland, that you can always come back. This is important. At a certain point, you might think, who cares, I go there. But maybe one day you want to come back. And then you need to go where what are you doing is valued in your own country. So this just to say that public university, as I was telling before, are delivering bachelor, master, and doctorate degree. So every degrees you are going to follow in the university is fine. For the engineering school, some of them, most of the high-level engineering school, have equivalence to the master degree, but not all. So do not hesitate to contact us, to come, to see us, and I will tell you if what you are looking for is really valuable for you or not. But in most of the case, the very good engineering school have, of course, managed to be able to host foreign students and giving them a diploma that is recognized. So here is a little description of this engineering school, because this is a real special system in France. So there are public and private grand écoles. And as I told you before, you can follow engineering studies or politics or business. So the difference between university and this kind of school is that the schools are much more applied. They are very close to industry. They are very close to work. So basically, what's usually when you do an engineering school is a very applied training, which allow you to work directly. When you finish your 5 years after the high school, you can start working and you are prepared to do so. The access to this school is not easy. You have a very limited entrance of students. And also most of the schools are a little bit more expensive than universities. But the good point is that since you are in an engineering school that usually are very selective, the number of students is low. So this means that the contact hours you have with your teacher are higher than in the university. The face-to-face time you spend with teacher is higher in engineering school than in university, where there are many more students registered. A number of these schools also have training that is taught in English, which might be easier for some students that are not proficient with French. So now let's look the procedure that you need to follow in order to enter a French university. So basically, all the admission procedure are based on a file that you need to prepare in advance. And there are 3 elements that are really important. Is the records of your past studies. So you need to send all the information about the training you have been following the previous year with all the records, so really the notes you got during your studies. Then another very important element is the letter of motivation, which should be specific for what you are really looking for. You need to explain that because in France, they want to make sure that you are really going to get the training you are willing to. So the mobility should be in the frame of the professional work you are willing to follow afterwards. And you need to specify why you choose that training in that university. Because if I talk about business, for example, there are tons of business school and business training. So you need to explain to a school why you applied to that one. So you need to know the content of the training you are applying for, and eventually specify that what's really attracted you is this training unit. You know, it's really, there are so many trainings available that you need to justify somehow why you choose a specific training. Of course, the fact that you like to go to France, that you wanted to visit Toulouse or Bordeaux or whatever, can also count. But the most important is really related to your professional choice. So you need to put in relation your professional choice with the training you are choosing, and what the training in France will add to your overall education. Because education in Finland is already very good, so why should you go in France? So you need to explain that in detail. And then, of course, if you're following a French training, you need to provide a justification of your French level, and usually it's the B2 minimum level that is required to enter French studies. Now, you might think that it's easier to go to a university in France than in Finland, since there is no real exam. But in fact, in France, in the university, the selection is done during the courses. This means that most of the students, I would say all the students, can at the end get admission to a university. But not all of them are going to finish their studies, because the selection is during the year with the exam and the very high demand of training and study to the students registered. So concerning the Grande École, it's very difficult to enter them. Usually there is a strong selection, but I would say that the foreign student can still have a chance, because they do appreciate having students coming from everywhere. They like to have international students within their courses. So it might be, you are not going to have the same selection as French students, which is very linked to their studies. In your case, it will be a little bit more open, and so you have still your chance to get eventually in one of those schools. So now, when and how to do your registration. So if you are now at the last year of high school, so to enter the first year of bachelor in France, you have a frame that is very well structured. It's called Parcoursup. So you can right from the 20th of December go on the website, which is indicated down here, and start looking to all the training available next academic year. So this means that from the 20th of December, with different filters for searching really what you are looking for, you can see more than 15,000 training that are available in France. At the 20th of January, the registration will open. This means that you can start creating your file on the 20th of January. And you have until the 11th of March to indicate the first 10 choice. Because you're not going to apply to one training. You always have to apply for several of them, because you might not be taken to the one training you are choosing. So it's better to look for different training. So until the 11th of March, you have to prepare the choice of the training you want to follow, and you start preparing your file. On the 8th of April, your file must be completed. Completed means that you have to prove that you are proficient in French, so that you have your B2 level. You need to have your letter of motivation. So I would say if you are asking for 10 different training, how many letters you should write? 10 different letters. Not totally different, but in each letter of motivation, you need to specify why you choose that training. Okay, so it's a lot of work. And that's why I think that 10 choice, it's already a lot. Because you need to really look in detail and get a good idea of what you are going to do. So by April 8th, your file should be completed. Of course, you should also remember to put in your file any other activity, interest you might have, photography, dance, cinema, whatever you have done in your life beside high school that can be valuable. Of course, everybody likes to have students that are motivated, dynamic, that have plenty of ideas. So you need to show that you are really a very active student, and that you are going to put a lot of energy to do your studies in France. And then between 27th of May and 16th of July, you will receive by email from the university the letter of acceptation or refuse. I would say that you shouldn't be worried if you are not admitted to a university for a specific training. We are very selective in choosing foreign students because we want to make sure that you are successful. It doesn't make sense to do a mobility to another country if you are not successful. So from the university point of view, there is a big responsibility in taking a foreign student because you have to make sure that this student will be in good shape, he will be able to continue the study. It's not only a matter of financial investment, because mobility is also a bit of a financial investment, but it's also the fact that you will be in another country with less friends around, no family. So at least from the academic point of view, they want to make sure that you are at the top level for that specific training, which doesn't mean that you are not top level student in general. It just means that if you haven't done enough mathematics in your high school, you can't go to follow mathematics in France because you won't be able to survive. So this is really important for me to say, because I don't want students to feel like I'm not good at nothing because I haven't been taken in a curriculum in France. It's just that there are some what we call the prerequisites. So you need to have some knowledge in order to add more knowledge. And if you don't have these basics, you can't add something. It's like when you construct and build something, you need fundamentals in order to build. So the professor, their job when they are selecting students is just to see if the fundamental knowledge is there, so that you can continue from that point. And for foreigner students, we are, I would say, more strict because we know that you will have other sources of stress, maybe, getting in a new place, not having family, all these things, so that at least you need to be comfortable from the academic point of view. And also we want that at the end of the year, you are the top level in the class. So this is for all the students that start with the first year bachelor in France. But you might maybe among the students that are now listening to this information session, maybe there are some that need to go in second year bachelor, third year bachelor, master or doctorate. In that case, I would say it's extremely simple. I can also help, of course, especially deciding the kind of training you will follow, but it's simple in the sense that you need to contact directly the responsible of the training, and that person is going to tell you. It's a direct exchange with the responsible of the training. So you have to send, as I told you before, a letter of motivation, the track record, CV, and then you will exchange with this person, with this professor, in order to see if it makes sense for you to go to France. So it is important to take this direct contact, I would say beginning of December, or you can go up to February. But if you want to get a fellowship to do your studies in France, then the best way to go is to contact that person in December. Because in order to get any kind of fellowship to go to France, you need the approval from the responsible of the curriculum that he's going to take you, and he's supporting your request of fellowship. So that's why December is a good moment, because the most well-known French fellowship, which are called Bourse Eiffel, by the name of the Tour Eiffel, the deadline is end of December. And it's not you that are applying, it's the university that apply. So you need to have everything ready by 15 or 20 of December, so that the university where you apply for the fellowship will ask it to the government. So these very prestigious fellowships are available for students entering a master in France. They're not available for bachelor. And in fact, overall, you have much more funding opportunities for the master and doctoral level than for the bachelor level. And the reason is what I already told you a little bit. Bachelor is more a study level that is for students that will stay in their own country and work in their own country. It doesn't mean that it's not useful to go abroad. It's just that it's not necessary. When you are at the master of the doctoral level, you need to go abroad. If you haven't been abroad, your training is not complete, I would say. Okay. So here is the diploma to get into French university. So you need to have the elementary diploma for French language, level B2. We are delivering here at the Institut Français of Finlande this kind of diploma. So you can see on our website the examen session. I know that some schools are also providing you this kind of diploma. Overall, there are 30, I think, institutions that are allowed in Finland that are allowed to deliver such a diploma, and you can find the information on our website or contact us directly, and we will give you the information. So how much does it cost to study in France? So the scholarity is not really expensive in France. For a bachelor, it's 170 euros. For a master, 243. For a doctorate, it's 380. But for a doctorate, it's another story, because anyhow you will have a doctoral contract, so you will have money. I mean, you will be paid to do your doctorate. So if you want to go to this grande école or engineering school, then the costs are slightly higher, might go from 600 euros to 15,000 euros. So depending on the school, usually business school, management school are much more expensive than the other schools. There is a lot of competition, so that's why. So usually in Finland, you are used to get a fellowship to study from Kela. And in fact, you have to know that if you go abroad to follow a diploma that is recognized by Finland, by now you should know which diploma are recognized by Finland, bachelor, and master. doctorate. So if you go to follow one of these, then you can keep your KELA fellowship and you can use it abroad. So don't think that if you quit Finland for a study period abroad, you are going to lose your advantage, your fellowship. You are going to keep it. So this is not really an issue. And also, there are plenty of opportunities of fellowship in France. So I told you about the Eiffel Fellowship because it's for all of France. But each university might have its own fellowships available for foreigner students. And this you can find information on the website. But again, I mean, if you need help to find all this information, I mean, the only thing it's really important when you come to see us is that you know more or less what you want to do in your life. This we can't really help. It's really up to you to see what interests you. But also I would say that you shouldn't be too much scared because, for example, myself, I am a biologist, you know. I studied biology. Then I went to the United States for a postdoc. Then I came back to France. Now I'm working in international relations. So don't think that if you start your training in one direction, then all the other options in your life are closed. The important thing is to do well whatever you start doing, and then you can always change and evolve differently. So why you should choose France? So we find good reason. Maybe you can find even more. If you find more, just let me know. But one of the reasons is that honestly, the higher education in France is a very high level and is well recognized in the world. So if you get a diploma from a French university, you can make sure that it's recognized all over the world. In terms of economic weight of France, France is a big, it's well recognized and has, especially now since the Brexit of UK from Europe, it's a country that is becoming more and more important in European issues. So I think it's an interesting for the ones that are interested in European Union and how it works Europe. Knowing French and passing by France might be really an important step. Then what to say? In France, you have usually a very nice way of living. And is right in the center of Europe, as you can see here. So you can go to Spain, Italy, Germany. Everything is close. Every other country in Europe is very close, and you can visit easily. Also, French is an international language, so it's spoken in many different countries, and France is used to welcome international students. So usually, especially in Bordeaux, Toulouse, Rennes, in those kind of smallest town, you can find a very nice and interesting student life. I didn't mention Paris because it's particular, and in fact, I wouldn't recommend necessarily to do your bachelor in Paris because it's kind of complicated town, because to find a place where to live or public transportation and so on, it's really a metropole. It's very big. And I feel like coming from Helsinki, for example, which is a town, I think it's beautiful, very nice to live, easy finding everything. Then Paris might be a little bit stressful for a first-year bachelor student. Saying that, I mean, it's a beautiful town, and of course you need to go there. But it's just for everyday life, and to get connected, to get friends, it might be a little bit more difficult than if you go to Bordeaux, Toulouse, Rennes, Lyon, those towns where the student lab might be a little bit easier to set up. So I told you that higher education in France is well recognized. It's not just that I have a dream, but it's really what come out from this Shanghai ranking, for example, where the three French higher education institutions are on the top 100, and in fact, Paris-Saclay is in the top 15. It's now 14. So really, it's a very high level of education, and we are the first country welcoming non-English-speaking students. So, of course, students that want to study in English are not the most present in France, but except from them, we are the most open country. The registration costs are low. As I showed you, it's not really expensive. And in some discipline, we are really at the top. And I'm thinking about mathematics, because we have 13 medal fields, which are the Nobel Prize in mathematics, out of 55. And in fact, the last ranking from Shanghai show France being the first in mathematics in the world. And 63 Nobel Prize are from France. For high-level studies, so I was thinking about master and doctorate. If you want really to specialize, you can find very interesting things in France that might not exist in your own country, so it's worth it to go. And then, as I told you before, we have 9 countries that are next to France, so you can go a little bit all over Europe very easily, just by train. So why now French? As I told you, you don't need to know French to go to France, especially for master and doctorate degree. Here you don't need. You can do all your studies in English, but still keep in mind that French is an international language. This is the 5th language that is known in the world. So it's a language of culture. It's an affair language. So even if you go to France to follow a training that is taught in English, do the effort to learn French, because it's really, again, another value for you. It will allow you to work in many other countries which are French-speaking, in Africa, for example, or in Canada, and they will open up many new opportunities. So we have, as I told you before, you can also do your study in English. So on this website, you can find all the programs that are taught in English. Very few, honestly, at the bachelor level, more at the master level. Now, the resources. So what we can, how we can help you. So with the website Finland Campus France, you can find plenty of information. In fact, there is a guide for the students. There is the catalog of all the training available. You have videos of students that went to France that are going to tell you how it went for them. So you have all sorts of information about studying in France, and you have also the Campus France website, which is in French or in English, that you can follow. So on those websites, you can find the whole catalog of bachelor and master degree available. In this website is the one that are available in French. The other website is for the one in English. But for the ones that are speaking currently French, I also suggest to go to the ONICEP website. This is the website for a French student. If I'm in French, and if I am in France, I will go on this website to find my degree. And the reason I suggest you to go there is that in that website, they are not only presenting the curriculum, but also really all the kind of professional option that this curriculum will offer you. So this website is the most complete one and the most updated one, since the French university has to update this website, ONICEP. Then Campus France came after, but the real website for French studies is ONICEP. So as I start at the beginning, I continue now to tell you that, of course, I'm here to talk to you about France, but for me, the most important thing is that a student find his way. And a way for a student can be going to France, but can be also going somewhere else. So for me, it's important to tell you now that you have these three websites: Bachelor's Portal, Master Portal, PhD Portal website. Those websites are European websites that will inform you about the training all over the world. So it's again a system with the filters, countries, and so on. So you can, of course, restrain the number of your research, but I don't know, maybe looking on those websites, you will find the training you are dreaming of. So, of course, I will be pleased to help you to go to France, but you can also look on those websites to find other options. So, this place, physical place here in the French Institute, is a space that is done for you students. So you can come anytime. We have journals, we have books, we have all kind of information you might need. We will be pleased to welcome you. So this is really important. If we can help to allow you to go to France and to find the right training, really we will do it with pleasure. And now, one last word is about this year Studia Fair. We decided to open an Instagram contest. So Campus France Finland will offer 2 tickets to fly to Paris to the best video showing your motivation to go to France. So it's just an Instagram contest, so the video must be 59 seconds, and you have to send it to this Campus France Finland hashtag, and you will be able this way to win 2 tickets to fly to Paris, or also to be available to follow French classes here at the Institute, or physically present here, or by distance. We have both kind of courses. And there are other prizes, like, for example, the free registration to our library, which gives you access to all sorts of documentation, journals, films, and so on. So the deadline is tonight, midnight. But we can also say midnight French time in Paris. So we give you a little bit more time to do your little video. So we are waiting to receive your video that might be in French or in English. We don't mind, of course. So here again, the schedule where we are open. I have to say that, okay, we might not be open when the restriction for the sanitary condition will not allow us to open. So it might be that from next week we might not be open, but you can certainly write us and take an appointment, and we can meet, of course, face by face if you need, or just exchange by email. So I hope that you enjoyed the presentation, and at least for the one that are present here, you can of course ask questions, and for the one that might be following by YouTube, you can of course raise your hand and write your question, and I will be pleased to answer. So yes.
Donc, si tu veux me donner un conseil, donc selon vous, c'est plus facile de commencer les études en Finlande et continuer, par exemple, le master en France?
May I answer in English?
Yeah.
So the question is, it's easier to start studying in Finland and then going to France. So it really depends on your motivation. I think that for your studies, for what you're going to learn, and for your job, is more important, is essential, I would say, to go abroad at the master and doctoral level. This is really important for your job, for your profession, whatever you want to do in life. So I would say definitely you have to go when you are in master or doctorate. For the bachelor, it's different. It can be a very interesting experience, but I would say that for the work you are going to do later on, it might be less essential. But if you are fluent in French, and you feel comfortable in going to France, no problem. You should go, and then eventually come back and do your studies in different country. If you find a bachelor that really suits you in France, I would go. But it's just that, in Finland you have a very good higher education system. I can't say to you, go to France because the bachelor is much better than in Finland. So I wouldn't put the pressure on a student to go abroad for a bachelor, but I certainly would say to a student, go abroad for master of PhD. And I hope you listen me. I say abroad. Of course, France is part of abroad, but it's important overall. It depends also, on your personal situation with family, friends, and because some student has already been maybe to France for an exchange at the high school level, and maybe they want to go back. Why not? Yes, you should, But it's just, I would say, it's less mandatory. In my mind, it's definitely mandatory to move when you are at the master and doctoral level. That's the only difference. So if there are no other questions, we can close this session, and then you're welcome to write or call and come, and we can discuss further. Thank you very much.